Getting old sucks. You want me to elaborate? Fine. When you get older, you find you have less and less free time. This can be due to a number of different things like work or kids. Kids, it's mostly kids. Kids will absorb all of your money, your energy, and your time. At the end of the day, when you're done with work and then clothing, feeding, and cleaning the spawn, you will have no energy for anything else. I remember one night after putting my kid to bed relatively early, I realized I had some time to myself and I thought I might play a game. So I loaded up Steam, selected a game, and ended up staring at the start menu like a zombie for an hour. This process would repeat for the next year or so to the point that I stopped trying to play games entirely and only really used my desktop once a year to file my taxes. I'm sure it's the same for a lot of parents out there, and it doesn't have to be video games. It could be sports or whatever people do outside. But you'll find that after the miracle of childbirth, you will be too tired to keep track of hobbies and things you were previously deeply invested in. Kids don't remain dependent forever, though. They eventually go from needing round-the-clock surveillance to keep them from killing themselves to slowly getting their own autonomy. Eventually, they will eat on their own, dress themselves, poop on their own, and they'll start spending most of their day at school, too. Your parenting is on autopilot from this point forward. You just need to get over that hump.
Whew. Well, I'm excited to share that our family is getting even bigger because we're having another baby!
But after getting some amount of leisure time, I would find that when I would play games again, it was usually older stuff I've played a million times already, like Halo, Rainbow Six, and other games I haven't gotten around to talking about on this channel yet. I tend not to play many newer games, not because I'm not interested, but because I mostly want to turn my brain off at the end of the day. Ever hear of Old World? It's this new 4X game that came out a few years ago and was designed by Soren Johnson, lead designer of Civ 4. The game has some cool sounding features like a Crusader Kings-like dynasty system for your faction leaders, and a system where you have limited resources shared faction-wide for things like unit orders. It sounds really interesting. And I've started it up a few times, but rarely get far past the tutorial, as I'd rather replay Civ 4 for the millionth time instead of spending any time learning new gameplay systems. When it came to dopamine release, my lazy brain would choose the path of least resistance every time. Until Cyber Knights Flashpoint. Sorry for the old man rant. You clicked on the thumbnail because it was about Cyber Knights, and let me get straight to it. You need to play this game. It's amazing. It's deep, it's complex, it's fun, it's reminded me why I love playing video games in the first place. If you take nothing else away from this video, just give this game a chance. I guarantee it will grab you by the cock and it won't let go. So this game has been out for a while and I only just played it this past Christmas. I was aware of the game's developers, the Trese Brothers, already, mostly from Star Traders Frontiers and Templar Battle Force. They've built a reputation over the years of making deep, systems-driven strategy games, but I hadn't played any of them before Cyber Knights, because while they were releasing games and building their reputation, I was changing diapers and passing out on my desk to the Civ 4 theme song. But they've got a solid reputation for deep strategy games, and normally my brain sees that and does not want to get off its lazy ass and spend any amount of brain power learning new systems. I'm set in my ways. How did this game manage to pierce my veil of apathy? Cyberpunk. That's it. I like techno-dystopian hellholes and mercenaries fighting on behalf of soulless corporations. I'm a simple man. Also, this hacking interface I saw in a preview looks and functions eerily similar to a certain Genesis classic. Cyber Knights may be the Trese Brothers' it might be the developer's most ambitious game yet. Cyber Knights Flashpoint is a cyberpunk-themed squad-based tactical RPG. It's drawn a lot of comparisons to Firaxis' new XCOM series, and yes, there are some obvious similarities, but Cyber Knights has a lot more depth to it, in both its squad-based combat and its strategy layer. What makes this game so interesting is how there are a lot of deep and interconnected systems that can create unique and fun scenarios. and I'm going to do my best to try and explain how they work despite my developmental handicap, so just hold my hand, we'll get through this together. Let's start with the turn-based tactical layer because that's where most of your time will be spent. This is the squad-based layer where you can lead 4 to 5 characters on turn-based missions. Characters can be any of 10 classes with the ability to multi-class into 2 classes at once. In the turn-based missions, characters have action points and can move or take actions in any order as many times as you want, as long as they have enough points for all actions. As God intended. One thing that sets this game apart is a heavy emphasis on stealth, at least at the outset of a mission. Unless it's a mission that starts you out in combat, there are some of those. When your squad spawns into the map will be patrolled by enemy guards and numerous security devices like cameras, tripwires, and so on. You may have a mission of stealing a certain item on the map, killing a specific character, hacking a computer system to steal files, and so on. And you can complete all of these objectives and complete stealth or go loud and start combat, but how an alert spreads through enemy ranks once combat starts is pretty unique. Enemy AI and their awareness of your team on missions is governed by what the game calls a SEC AI, Security AI. When you first spawn into a map, you have a security level starting at level 1 and a security tally, which increments at 1 every turn, and will increase more with every disturbance enemies detect on the map, like hearing noises, being spotted by cameras, and so on. When the security tally reaches 10, a security level is raised and there will be an escalation. The escalation chosen will vary based on a number of factors, like whether you have any associated legwork that took place prior to the mission, if you have active favors to call in that would affect the security level, what the security level is raising to, the enemy faction populating the map, the area the mission is taking place in, the current phase of the move. This security escalation could start with small things like activating more security cameras on the map, and at higher levels will lead to heavily armed enemy reinforcements being called in every single turn. What I like about What I like about this game is how every individual enemy character has their own awareness of your team. If an alarm is raised, enemy guards will only get a general idea of where to go, like an intruder was spotted in this room or a body was discovered here, so they won't know your actual locations until they actually lay eyes on your team. So even with an alarm raised, it's possible to reposition your characters and take advantage of the situation to get the drop on reinforcements, or just avoid them altogether. Another thing I appreciate is that weapons do not have a binary silenced or unsilenced variable governing whether enemies can hear them. So silenced pistols will still be heard by enemies if they are close enough, and an unsilenced rifle will not be heard if it is fired far enough away, which makes bringing snipers useful even when you want to be stealthy on some of the bigger maps. Also, an important thing to consider is turn order. As all characters, yours and the enemy AI have initiative rolls that calculate who gets to go in what order in the turn. Character initiative can be influenced by character stats, active abilities, and usable items, as well as what the character did on the previous turn. One common example being you can select to delay a specific character's action in the current turn, but this will decrease their initiative roll for the subsequent turn. There are a number of character abilities and enemy actions that can influence this in a positive or negative way as well. Make sense? No? Well, too bad, we've got to keep going. This constant ratcheting up of the tension forces you to balance speed, stealth, and outright aggression in order to stay ahead of the enemy forces as they're hunting you down. It's a unique gameplay loop for a turn-based game, one that fits the setting almost too well. Your squad is dangerous and capable of wiping out an enemy patrol, but you're just thieves at the end of the day. The corporate armies you're going up against have an endless amount of bodies to throw at you, and you can only push your luck so far. How the game rewards adapting to scenarios also helps to curb the habit of save scumming. Now, this is not a defense of the practice, but hear me out. Nobody sits down to play a game and says, I'm going to reload a save game over and over until I get the outcome I want. What tends to happen is games can be structured in such a way that players can have very negative outcomes that feel unfair. To take the recent Firaxis XCOM games as an example, those games place such a heavy emphasis on individual characters that losing even a single high-level character in the mid or late game can be devastating considering how long it would take to level up a suitable replacement. Hell, a single bad dice roll in a mission can lead to an enemy getting a critical hit. That causes panic to spread through your squad, leading you to losing the mission, which leads to losing a country's funding on the strategy layer, and so on. XCOM is a game about mitigating risks, but sometimes the RNG will be against you no matter how well you prepare for it. This can be overwhelming for a lot of players, and in moments like that,
Yet, after all, why not? Why shouldn't I keep it?
I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying. I understand. Cyber Knights avoids most of this with its gameplay structure. Having a team member discovered by a patrolling guard might ruin your stealth run, but if you move fast you can neutralize enemies to keep an alert from spreading, or rush to the objective and leave before enemy reinforcements show up. Even losing a character in a firefight is usually not a long-term setback, as you have methods to recruit new team members and train them up relatively quickly if needed. This keeps the turn-based segments fun for a long time, as any single mission can play out in a number of different ways. And I haven't even brought up the hacking yet. Hacking is an activity only accessible by two character classes in the game, hackers and wire ghosts. Just about every map in the game has at least one computer terminal in it that, if hackers are able to reach, they can jack in and access a secondary map where they navigate through a computer system, defeating security software, allowing them to disable the security systems on the map, and download valuable files you can sell after the mission for money. The wire ghosts are able to hack as well, only wirelessly through security systems for a shorter length of time. The Matrix interface looks oddly familiar, and it's pretty easy to navigate. You'll start out at an access point on the network and need to move through nodes, fighting tougher security as you get closer to critical systems like the CPU or data storage. You've got different programs loaded into your hacker's cyber deck that you can use to defeat security when hacking the network, as well as character abilities that will give them buffs like extra action points, cyber deck health, or allow them to bypass network nodes, and so on. It should be mentioned that while your character is hacking, the rest of the game proceeds as normal. It could take several turns for your hacker to defeat the necessary security or access the correct files on the network, so defending them while in meat space with the rest of your team is often required, either holding off waves of enemy reinforcements if you've already been discovered, or using your team to cause distractions and lure guards away so your hacker isn't spotted by a random patrol. It's a unique side of the game, and even though it's completely optional to engage with, it is thoroughly fleshed out. Security systems have a range of different eyes to defeat, and your hacker characters have an expansive skill tree, as well as unique cyber decks to upgrade and customize with unique programs. You can forgo bringing any hackers and just focus on the mission objectives, but you would be leaving money on the table. Some of the files and blueprints you can steal while hacking are often worth more money than you'll receive for completing the mission itself. Also, it's cyberpunk. How can you not engage with hacking in cyberpunk? Hackers are the mages of the cyberpunk setting. Except for Shadowrun, which has actual magic and dragons. And a dragon was president of the United States at one point. Vote Dunkelzahn, 2057. For the strategy layer of the game, you manage your mercenary layer, where you can select missions, purchase new gear, recruit and manage characters, build new rooms in your base, and all the assorted things that give context and flavor to the turn-based tactical missions. It has a vaguely familiar layout, don't know if anyone else has noticed. What sets this apart from some recent games is that mission selection, weapon and item access, and most things on the strategy layer are governed by contacts, character relations, and reputation. Contacts are characters you can interact with throughout the game, and your choices can positively or negatively affect your relationship. You can accept missions from them and over time improve trust to the point that they will offer better services or even special quest lines. You can also damage your relationship to the point that they will become hostile and can then take negative actions towards your team, like being a dirty snitch. Rewards from contacts can come in the form of money or favors. There are certain things in the game, like maybe access to specific faction areas or leverages you can call in during missions, that are not purchasable with credits, only a favor from a connected contact. Contact favors also come up often in legwork assignments, which are like mini missions that could offer cash, item, or favor rewards. Or they could directly support one of your turn-based missions, like disabling security on the map or giving you alternate methods to complete the mission, and can even lead to new side missions. Individual characters can also have faction relations that can impact missions. If a specific character has a positive relationship with a faction, they may get bonuses to operating in that faction's territory, or bespoke options and quests involving those factions. On the flip side, if they have a negative relationship, they may be unable to operate in the faction's territory at all, or participate in missions offered by characters from said faction. Besides the hideout management, the strategy layer is where your squad's mission handler, the Face, operates. This character class uses their stats and abilities to negotiate new missions with contacts, increase mission rewards, and can complete legwork to assist on missions. They're basically your squad manager that only operates on the strategy layer. The missions themselves can have varied outcomes, as you can make choices that lead to different mission chains, or resolve conflicts through negotiation instead of combat, or use bank favors you have with contacts to achieve alternate outcomes. One example being one of the main origin missions you start the game with. It establishes how your main character gets their cyber gear in the first place, and it can play out in a number of different ways. You begin this series of missions in debt to a criminal organization for installing the illegal cyberware that makes your main character the titular Cyber Knight in the first place. And your contact at the crime syndicate in charge of collecting on your loan offers a way to wipe the debt if you complete a highly dangerous mission for them. Turns out there's a power play within the crime syndicate, and this contact wants you to move against one of their rivals in the organization. Pretty standard RPG quest line. You can take the mission and have your debt to the crime syndicate wiped out, or you could reach out to the contact's rival and side with them in the power struggle. Or you could be like me and have half your party wounded in a prior mission and unable to go on to any other mission until they recover. So the crime syndicate mission will time out and you have to pay off the debt the old-fashioned way, by telling the bank to fuck off and having them send bounty hunters after you. These are high-level enemy characters that can ambush you on missions and are a persistent threat throughout the campaign until they are killed. And starting out a campaign with two of these able to pop up anywhere is a rough way to start the game. Not insurmountable though. You could also pay off the loan normally, with 500,000 credit payments due every 30 days in game time. Though the crime syndicate contact will really not like you for it because they really wanted you to complete the job for them instead. So they'll just be an annoying little shit for most of the game, even if you make all your payments on time. It's like if every month you make a car payment, the bank just calls the cops on you. I was originally going to say mortgage payment, but...
Turn it off. Turn it off. Turn it off! Turn it off!
Cars, though. You guys know all about car loans, don't you? How's the world out there? Have things stopped burning yet? If this all sounds like a lot to take in at once, it is. I still don't understand all the nuances to how some things function. Though to be fair, I have trouble understanding how most things function. If you know the Trese Brothers if you know their reputation, you'll know that they have a history of supporting their games for a long time after release, and Cyber Knights, so far, is no different. After incubating in early access for a year, the game hit the 1.0 milestone on June 2nd, 2025. 7 months later, the game continues to receive updates at a rapid pace, which includes new areas, mission types, new enemies for certain factions, new characters to recruit your team, and a lot of bug fixes and polish. And I just realized I haven't mentioned the graphics in this game at all yet, and, well, look at it. My wife saw me playing this game one night and asked if it was The Sims 2. Cyber Knights is the first 3D game the Trese Brothers have made, and while their previous games never looked amazing, The 2D artwork in those is a bit easier on the eyes than the basic 3D models here. You're not playing this game for the visuals, though. As you've gathered, there are a lot of interacting systems in the game, and not all of them are clearly explained. So the online wiki was really helpful for smoothing things over. Additionally, enemy AI can sometimes be obtuse, especially in stealth. They're set to respond to disturbances like hearing noises, discovering bodies, and so on, but if you have multiple disturbances affecting a single guard on the same turn, it can be unpredictable how they will respond. Sometimes the most recent thing to grab their attention is what will take priority, but not every time. There might be an explanation to how the AI is ranking these things on its list of priorities, like in the game log, but minutia like this may only truly become clear after another 100 hours of playtime. It's one of those games. Also, I wish there was a way to more directly move against contacts that are outwardly hostile towards you. Like maybe optional missions against a hostile contact to remove them from the game or just silence them and keep them from making negative actions against you for a while. Because as it is now, once a contact doesn't like you, they'll just be a constant nuisance. Cyber Knights Flashpoint is an amazing game. It has an impressive number of interacting systems, and while intimidating at first glance, it is incredibly rewarding to learn and interact with. And as you can see, it is very replayable too. This is one game that will stay in my rotation for a long time, and I highly suggest you try it because you may love it too. Okay, back from a short break. I have to re-record this part. I apologize for the audio quality. Recording this part on a different microphone while away from home. Also, the washing machine is running in the next room. Also, my neighbor is listening to music. Also, there's a dog barking occasionally in the background. Also, I have a cold. Also, I'm gay. I really have Cyber Knights to thank for getting me back into newer games. Yeah, I know there have been a ton of games that came out in the past few years that I've been wanting to try, but have just not had the time for. And here's a good example, Field of Glory 2 Medieval. Not exactly new. Wait, I already have this one. I don't even remember buying it. Well, I guess I could play it right now. I've got time.